Look, I've had a love-hate relationship with the hydration break. When I need sleep, it's where I get my nap. I get a 2-minute, just close my eyes. So I've started to like them towards the end.
Had great success in the league, and I'm sure coming up to the AFC Cup in January, we're going to see Saudi as one of the, the real kind of masters at that tournament. I think as of now, there's been 10 managers that have left their post after this World Cup. Hello and welcome to the Al-Majlis podcast powered by Cora Break. Each week I'm joined by expats from around the kingdom to discuss all things football, and as you see, we're on the theme of World Cup at the moment. This week I'm joined by Alex and Aman as my co-hosts, and we've also got a special guest in Mo, as some people will know as Fayad Zinio. How's it going, Mo? You okay?
I'm doing well. I'm catching up on sleep. It's been a crazy month.
Yeah, for sure, I can imagine. I mean, congratulations, you've hit your Centurion cap now.
Yep.
100 matches watched live throughout the tournament so far.
So 100 matches, 4 to go. I can't believe I've made it this far, but really it's been like a once-in-a-lifetime experience to genuinely do this, especially for a 48-team World Cup. I underestimated how hard it would be, but it's been an absolute blast.
Yeah, I can imagine. And obviously, guys, how have you found the World Cup so far?
Better than I thought, if I'm honest, because bigger, like when you start expanding it, it's not guaranteed you're going to enjoy it as much. And the group of death that you'd always look out for, we'd have not really had. But it's been a good tournament.
Yeah, I've been amazed with how competitive the games have been. They've been extremely close, especially in the knockout stages. You know, 1 goal in it in most of the games, some of them going through to penalties. So yeah, it's been great to watch.
Yeah, 100%. And to be fair, I mean, on that point, like, although some of the games wouldn't be necessarily what I would watch in a usual international break, but because it's the World Cup, because of the atmosphere, everything that's on it, I mean, I've not been doing the hours that you've been doing, but I've still been staying up for, the 11 p.m.s, 12 a.m.s, the 1 a.m.s. I'm feeling the pressure the morning after. Obviously for you, how have you adapted? I assume you're basically running off of coffee still to this day, right?
Yep, coffee. I'll have a Spanish latte in the morning. I'll have a black coffee midday, and then at the end of the day, to really reel it in, a Turkish coffee, and that's the way to go with this, because that'll keep you up guaranteed until the next day.
Is that all at home?
No, not all at home. Spanish latte I'll buy from outside, and then every day I'll somehow get my hands on a different type of coffee. It could be a V60, it could be iced latte, it could be whatever it is, but it'll just be the one in the middle of the day. But I've had days with 4 or 5 coffees. The days where my eyes are like this, yeah, it's 5 or 6 coffees.
I'd probably be quite interested to see what your bills look like in the month of June and July, because that's a lot of coffee to have.
Yeah, that's a lot of
Hopefully
coffee,
there's a few loyalty points there.
Yeah, I think that's the most I've spent on, like, because I've just been eating at home, and then otherwise just coffee. Everywhere I go, just coffee. And if I need like coffee that fills me up, just have coffee with milk or something like that.
You could probably do another video just on the reviewing all the different coffees that you had.
Exactly. There's so much data I have from this World Cup. It's not even about football anymore. It's like testing my sleep. Like the Apple Watch has tracked every single day of sleep. So definitely after that, I'm gonna go to my doctor and just check on myself.
See how broken it all is.
Yeah, and then my budget, the weight I've lost, because I'll go hours, like when there's 3 games in a row, I'm just not thinking about food, And so, yeah, I don't know how I've done it until now. And today, I mean, I do feel like, the World Cup's coming to an end. I do feel like something from my soul is kind of escaping, and I don't want it to end. Like, when you're just so deep into it, and you think, like, what's my life going to be after that? Like, how empty am I going to feel? Like, it's not even like the Premier League starts next week. It's like, there's nothing. Just emptiness.
How long have we've got? A month or so?
Yeah, a month now until the league start up again. I'm sure that we can find you some crazy pre-season friendlies to watch in different time zones.
No, I'll probably be watching the Champions League second qualifying round between the team from Gibraltar and San Marino. That's what I'll probably be doing. Yeah.
Look, obviously, well, I mean, with 100 games watched now, what would you say? Obviously, I'm sure you can't just pick one game, but how many of the games have you enjoyed? What's been the standout moments?
Well, look, it's weird because it all is about expectations. So, for example, Spain, Portugal, when it's a game like that, like, I'll be like, no, I expected something so much more, but then there have been some 0-0s like Spain and Cape Verde that I've liked. So it's not really about the result. It's about the expectation I set beforehand. So for example, Mexico, South Africa, the opening game, it's a 2-0. Yeah, there was some good football, but I just felt a bit underwhelmed for the first game. But if I had to pick the most entertaining game, like genuinely just back and forth, I think Egypt-Argentina was a fantastic game to watch. That was like it's everything you want in a knockout game. The underdog showing you that they can beat you, one of the best players of all time. Can he do it? Will he not? Is this the end of the journey for him? Feeling like you're anxious for either side and either player at every moment of the game. There wasn't a moment in that game where I felt like, oh, I can chill right now. So that's what made that game huge for me. Obviously, I mean, if we go back to the group stage, England, Croatia, what was it like? That was a game in the group stage where I felt like, okay, it was the first match day.
First match.
You're gonna have to help them. It was all blurred. It's all into one. But that was the match in the first match day where I'm like, okay, the World Cup started. Now we're here. The last group is underway. That's been fantastic. There've been great games. So across 12 groups, I mean, we can go back and forth. Iraq, Norway, an underrated one. Yes, it was 4-1 for Norway, but that first half, no one expected Iraq to come out like that. So it was amazing to see with them. Let's see, Brazil, Morocco, first 30 minutes. And some of these games, by the way, so entertaining for sections of half, 75 minutes, etc.
Do you think the hydration breaks had an impact in those stages of the game?
Look, I've had a love-hate relationship with the hydration breaks. When I need sleep, it's where I get my nap. I get a 2-minute, just close my eyes. So I've started to like them towards the end, and I do see the benefit of them in-game. I mean, we've had them even in the Saudi League for a long time, but just not in this way. But, I mean, how it's been brought into the game, of course, there's a lot of controversy for us, like pure natural football fans. Like, this is the way we've watched it, and this is the way it is now. But of course, I mean, tactically, it's just been a big benefit, or even, the opposite way around for teams, because you can come into it and be like, okay, we've been flustered, like Brazil, Morocco, right? Morocco, we're just absolutely pressing them for the first 25 minutes. Brazil needed that hydration break. Would be interested to see, like, if this was at the 2018 World Cup and Brazil didn't have a hydration break, would Morocco have kept going and scored a second or a third? So,
I think, obviously, especially last season, there was a lot of goalkeepers going down with injuries and things like that. So almost like the hydration breaks have already been in our game for a while. But it's the fact that you've got a 3-minute countdown. It's the adverts really that are important rather than the hydration. Like, that's the part that I think it's kind of taken away the soul of the game. That being said, I do think they are beneficial in a certain way, because I think every team, good or bad, needs that strategy, that time to speak. I mean, my favourite, well, it wouldn't even say hydration, but my favourite memory is the Mexico manager against England. When he's talking to Jude Bellingham and Anthony Gordon. And again, like, that's just, it's not a hydration break, but again, imagine what he must be saying during his hydration break, if he's that funny, with the opposite team. Stuff like that's great. Obviously, with regards to the Arab teams that have been in the tournament this year, obviously there's been, I think, the most amount of numbers of Arab teams in the tournament. What's your thoughts and feelings? Who was the kind of standout, who's not, who's underperformed?
Well, I mean, it is just so diverse, the feelings that they've made us feel, each and every single team, right? You cannot define it with one word or one sentence or all of them in the same way. I mean, Egypt and Morocco, for example, they've exceeded expectations. And of course, Algeria joining them in the knockouts, although a very underwhelming defeat to Switzerland. But Egypt and Morocco are like in their own league for what they've achieved from our teams at this World Cup. Algeria in between. Then we've got the other 5 teams. We've got Saudi, Qatar, Iraq, Jordan, and Tunisia. Now, when it goes to Tunisia, obviously, sacking 2 managers in the space of like less than 40 days, that has to be I thought, sacking him sacking Lemouchi after the first match day would have been a world record, but definitely must be 2 managers before the World Cup ends. It's crazy. So of course, I mean, Tunisia, not a performance to be proud of. The same, I would say, for Qatar after their draw against Switzerland. They should have had something after that. But I will say the game against Canada, an unlucky goal to concede and then a red card. That's when you just, against a home team, one of the co-hosts, you're bound to fall after that. And obviously they went down to 9 men. Ara and Jordan a debutant, and Ara, it's like they're a debutant because the last time they played was in 1986, and none of the players are even remotely close to being near the team these days. So you can look at that and be like, a lot of defensive mistakes, set pieces, goalkeeping mistakes. You learn from it in your first World Cup. But then Saudi, I mean, that was just. I mean, look, all due respect to Cape Verde, they showed us what they've done at this World Cup. So, you know, drawing to Cape Verde didn't look that bad in the end when you see what they did against Argentina. But at the same time, to only have scored 1 goal in 3 games was very disappointing. So that's how I feel overall on the Arab teams. But if you ask me as an Arab fan, you know, how do you feel like overall at the end, right? That just describe to me one feeling. I'd be like, it has been a great roller coaster ride, but I'm keen to see, you know, how they look forward to the future. There were a lot of disappointments. There were a lot of moments where, you know, I was told, like, Iraq almost equalizing against Norway, or almost taking the game to Norway. Jordan almost beating Algeria, for example. Those moments made us feel good, but it's the hope that kills you.
Well, listen, we're England fans, and we've gone through it for years as well. So yeah, it's the hope that can kill you.
Well experienced.
Obviously, kind of touching on Saudi, seeing as we're in the kingdom.
Yeah.
I know that you boys were both here for the 2022 World Cup. I know we all enjoyed our day off after the win against Argentina. Do you think that there was expectations of a Saudi team because of what happened with Argentina 4 years ago that made people think they're going to do that again? You know, having Spain, Cape Verde, again, as you said, they've shown that they're not a pushover. See, a point against Uruguay. When I watched that game with some Saudis,
They were unlucky.
Yeah,
I thought in the Uruguay game. Better finishing.
Could have won it, and especially if they didn't sit back a bit too much.
Yeah,
there was acres of space behind
I was going to say, do you think Saudi could have been more aggressive and tried to get the 3 points? Because if you do get beat the first game, you've still got further 2 games to get those points. So in hindsight, do you think the Saudi team would have been looking back thinking we could have been a bit more aggressive from the start?
Yeah, because even in theory, if they lost to Uruguay and Spain, they still would have had a chance to qualify had they beat Cape Verde, right? You know, so I just think the fact that you didn't go for the game then, that's when I knew, like, I'm no longer optimistic, because offensively you need to do more.
Because we always say, you know, when you look at the 3rd place rankings, etc., 4 points would have probably been enough, right? That's that key sort of minimum barrier to aim for. So, you know, by losing your first match, it isn't necessarily the end of the world. So maybe in hindsight, they could have been more aggressive. I'm not sure.
Yeah, right. I mean,
Still a young squad though. Still, it's not exactly in terms of international.
It is, and to be fair, I think also again sacking the manager only a few months out before the tournament, you know, that's always going to have a bit of uncertainty within the squad as to, well, you know, we've been told to play this way for the last 2 years of qualifying, and now we've got to play a completely different way with a new manager who again has had great success in the league, and I'm sure coming up to the AFC Cup in January, we're going to see Saudi as one of the, you know, the real kind of masters at that tournament, alongside, you know, other of the Arab nations within the AFC. So I'm excited to see that, but it's still the case that I think there's probably some disappointment with how it looks. But in the same breath, Argentina, you know, if they didn't beat Argentina last World Cup, no one would be sitting there and going, they deserve, or they could have beat Spain, and no one would have had that optimism going into the tournament. It's only because of what happened previously that they've now kind of gone.
Yeah, I mean,
who's Saudi?
The game plan for Spain just wasn't really right. From the off, it was just
going to a back 5 with a team that doesn't know how to play back 5. This is one thing we learned at the World Cup. Just adding another defender doesn't make you stronger. You need to know how to play a back 5. You need to know how to play a back 3. It is hard for centre backs when you've played in a 2 all your life to then suddenly have a third one, but no full backs on the same line as me. And so and you could see the confusion in the first goal. You'd have Tambakti telling the other guy, telling Al-Harbi, you know, just look, Yamal's behind you. It's just everyone's all over the place with the marking. I think if they went with a 4-2-3-1 as they were doing, and had Al-Jouer playing through the centre, they probably could have done a bit more. I think they would have lost anyways, to be honest.
Definitely.
But giving them that space in midfield and everything just allowed them to come back. And of course, can't forget that was Yamal's first start, and they drew against Cape Verde. They needed to make a stay and sort of win.
Yeah, I mean, on the point of going from a back 4 to a back 5, Big Dan Burn for me absolutely won me over. We spoke about it before about, you know, obviously Tuchel's decision making and things like that, but watching Dan Burn for those 20 minutes at 4 a.m. I couldn't sleep. I had to go straight to work afterwards because I was that excited.
Even John Stones, I know we're going away a bit from the Arabic teams, but you think he came on within 2 minutes, was making a big block.
Yeah.
And to come into a high stakes game, like it shows the levels kind of that you need at
But I mean, it's a very similar thing. I would say the England game against Mexico and Saudi and Cape Verde. You might be thinking, how do I connect that? But it's all about character, right?
Inexperience.
As Brendan Rodgers would say back in the day with Liverpool, great character, right? I think when I actually thought before the game that England would crumble in this match against Mexico. Maybe the England of 2006, 2010 or 2014, but they actually did show great character in that game. That's what they needed to show at the Azteca, where Mexico haven't lost in a long time, with the altitude, with all the media pressure, and with the fact that Mexico, they hadn't conceded. Before Jude's 2 goals, they had not conceded. They had won every single game. They had a perfect record. And so England showed up with great character, and I think that's a statement win from England. It's a win that I think starts a new generation of games, no matter what happens at the World Cup, you know?
Yeah, agreed.
That kind of performance is something that we've been lacking all of these previous tournaments, haven't we?
Yeah.
We've always, on paper, had the players to perform, but actually going back to that character and that nit and that drive, we've always seemed to fall short in that
Especially going
area.
down to 10 men as well, right? Like naturally, again, going down to 10 men, we've crumbled. We've seen it over years
Always
gone by,
concede,
and it's kind of, it felt like, again, the manager had us at a point where it was like, we go down to 10 men, it's okay. We'll still fight. We defended for our lives, but that was the right tactic in that moment to get us through to where we got to.
Tuchel plays the game in a way. He's not worried about everything around it. He's just focused on
because
that
I'll take you back to, let's say, South Africa 2010. Obviously, that one was the Germany, the Lampard goal. But think about maybe that team and those managers at those times.
Wow.
Mexico have been pressing you for 30 minutes. They're so close to getting that goal, and then Jude scores 2 for you. You think that was the moment where Mexico should have really taken the lead and said that we're pressing England back. But England did the absolute opposite against the run of play. And then immediately after, when we thought it was 1-0, it's okay, Mexico can still come back into it. But then you go again, and that's exactly what you need to do. Same thing, red card, we get the penalty and we go for it. So that's what's really important. And like you said, we were talking about the Euros before, you score a goal in the first minute. Do you sit back for 89? I mean, we're talking about club football a bit, but the same thing happened with Arsenal against PSG. Whenever you score first, right, in the first 10 minutes of the game, and then you tell the opposition, come and attack me for 80, 85 minutes, it's very hard not to crumble, no matter how big you are.
True. I mean, I'm an Arsenal fan, so
Mr. Defensive comes in now.
I think it's true. I mean, when you look at how England defended, it was just, you're not getting through us. You know, they weren't going to let. And I kind of thought when we won our first penalty shootout in however many years it was in it was the Euros, wasn't it?
Yeah, wasn't it Colombia
in the World Cup.
Yeah,
Colombia World Cup.
Yeah, Southgate's first World Cup. Yeah. I kind of thought, okay, you've just got one big monkey off your back. Go. But it just did the typical thing of stumbling after. So.
Just on that point, I'm going to bring it back slightly away from England because we don't want to become too biased, but you mentioned penalty shootouts, and that takes me to goalkeepers. So I was a goalkeeper growing up. Alex, you was a goalkeeper growing up as well, wasn't you?
Not a very good one, but
we're
attempted.
sitting here. But the goalkeepers this tournament, I mean, obviously the 2 standouts is Orlando Gil for Paraguay, who obviously talk about the penalty shootout against Germany, and also Vazinha. Obviously, you can't not talk about him in this tournament to go from 50,000 followers to now nearly 29 million followers.
Yeah,
it's probably increased a million by the time we're talking. It's crazy. It's been, it's been a goalkeepers tournament. There's even been just games let's not forget Qatar's goalkeeper Abu Nada against Switzerland. We had El Awais against Uruguay. We had Eloy Room with the World Cup record of saves in 90 minutes against Ecuador. So it's really been a goalkeepers tournament. I think though the number 1 star really is Vazinha himself, right? He just reached those numbers because away from just being a good goalkeeper at that age coming in, but also great character,
the whole Cape Verde story as well was just pretty great, wasn't it? Even the guy that got drafted through LinkedIn.
Berto Pico Lopez. I mean, it's a very interesting name, Roberto Pico Lopez from Ireland. Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
You know, seeing a LinkedIn message in Portuguese and thinking, oh, I think it's just spam or just a welcome message from LinkedIn, and then being curious 9 months later. I've had things in my life like that where, you know, you go like, wait, I remember that message, but to actually have it happen for the World Cup stage, right? And then you end up being there, making it to the round of 32. How crazy is that, you know?
Maybe Ireland missed the trick. Maybe Ireland should have gone to him directly instead.
Exactly.
And obviously managers. We spoke about it earlier with Tunisia. Like, I think as of now, there's been 10 managers that have left their post after this World Cup. Deschamps will be leaving as well. Whether France win it or not is yet to be seen. But obviously now we've got 48 teams, like Germany going out in the round of 32, Netherlands going out in the round of 32, when actually they played against Morocco, who 20 odd years ago we'd be saying
They should have
you should be beating Morocco. But now you look at the teams and you go, Morocco should be beating Netherlands. Like, is there nearly 25% of managers have left whilst the tournament's still going? Is there too much pressure on them? Is there too much?
But if you increase, you just like purely mathematical, if you increase the number, then the number of that will also probably likely go up. It's like goals and everything in it. You normally would expect some of it to be creep.
I think there's two tiers as well. Some managers are brought in to win the championship, win the World Cup. That is the bare minimum. If I don't win the World Cup, I'm a failure. If I don't win the World Cup, I get eliminated, I leave. Whereas there's that other half of managers are to get out of the knockout stage, the group stages and into the knockout round. So I think there's that two tier at the moment. And I think obviously as we've progressed through the knockout rounds, you've seen Martinez leave from Portugal. And I think that will continue as well. I mean, Tuchel, again, going back to England, apologies, was brought in to win the World Cup. If he doesn't, it's a failure in his eyes. So I think it's kind of managing that expectation and understanding what is the expectation for that country.
And also there's a different aspect when you compare from club football to international football, because what you're saying is like, how many managers at this World Cup have had the goal of, I need to win the World Cup, but you can only have one winner, 48 teams, but the amount of winners stays the same. In club football, for example, avoiding relegation is not a certain spot, right? Or reaching Europe is not a certain spot. Like, there are different levels to it, and it's subjective, you know. We avoided relegation. Did we avoid it by 20 points? Did we do a Sunderland this season? Or did we just avoid it on the final day and we've been playing bad all season? Meanwhile, for the World Cup, right? It's different. You can't sort of be like, I as Netherlands would be happy with a quarterfinals appearance. It's very hard to say that, even if they don't seem like contenders this year. But just the history of Netherlands at the World Cup, they need to go into every World Cup thinking we need to win it, because you have 4 years to prepare for it. If a manager comes into the Netherlands for the next 4 years and then reaches the World Cup 2030 and says, our goal is the round of 16 because we went to the round of 32, it doesn't work like that. And then it's like one game, the luck of the draw. Did Japan do as bad against Brazil? I mean, it's Brazil in the end, right? But then Norway, I mean, did Brazil do so bad? I mean, it's Norway. So it's like, it's about the games that you get. But is it harsh? I feel like it's also, each of the 48 managers has a different context, you know? Some of them have been brought in before the World Cup, specifically for the World Cup, done so badly that the FAs are sort of like, we need to save face with our fans. And so let's blame this guy. And others, it's kind of like, you know, the end of a cycle. Like, okay, I've done what I can for 8 years, or this is the second, third time I've tried it. Like Aguirre for Mexico, this is his third World Cup. I've tried it. I've done it. Okay, I'm either retiring or moving on to something else. So I think each one has its own context, but you'll know I've made a lot of videos about managers before and managerial sackings. I think it has become a cutthroat industry. Like, it's just crazy to see how many managers and how quickly they get sacked, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Look, there's 11 men on the pitch, and at the moment there's another 15 on the bench, or whatever that might be. So, I think they have to take some flag, but the managers are there to pick the 26 men before the tournament, and we've all had our opinions.
Set the tactics and everything,
I'll go back to England here. We all had our opinions of who should go, who shouldn't, and the reality of it is so far so good. I can't have any complaints of what that looks like now. But again, the expectations from what Tuchel might feel to how I feel as a fan watching are very different. Mo, look, Percy, thanks for coming in, and hopefully we'll get you back on in the near future to talk about the Pro League and the Prem and all of the other crazy leagues that you're watching at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning. And man, Alex, thanks for joining us as well. Guys, thanks for watching. Look forward to seeing you for the next episode. My salama.